All right, so this is workout 2, and with workout 2 of this, we're going to start with squats. Okay, so the squat is pretty simple. I usually start with shoulder width, but you know, some people, their dimensions, they may need to go hip width. But either way it goes is, as I'm sitting down, not trying to hinge backward like I would in the deadlift. It's more like I'm going to try to sit down onto my heels. So as I come down, right in here, down to parallel. So in some cases you might have little problems getting your, making it where you can isolate your quads or feel your quads a little bit more due to issues of flexibility or whatever. So watch as I first do these without the plates behind me underneath my heels. And you'll see that I have a little bit of a forward lean to get into that deep squat. So now I'm going to put the plates under my heels, and that's going to allow me to squat a little bit more upright. So if I was using weight, that would save a lot of wear and tear on my spine there. But you notice this squat is much more upright. That is the bench-assisted chin-up. Of course, if I did a pull-up, I would try to rotate my hands this way. But either way, that it's kind of a trick there where it makes you sort of like doing your push-up with the feet on the bench and things like that, where you're not actually lifting yourself up into the air. You know, you're kind of like on an inclined plane. Yeah, I don't care about that. Anyway. So if I wanted to make this easier, I would put more of my legs over the bench. Okay, so I'm lifting less percentage of my body. More of my body stays, against the bench there. So I move the bench closer and do the same thing, make it harder. Less of my legs on the bench, and that could be good. That could work out pretty well for you if you can't have access to chin-ups or pull-up apparatus, or even bands. I like to use bands where you can wrap the band around the pole there and down like that, but you can't use those sissy bands because if the band only gives you 5 pounds of tension, what are you doing this for? Okay, this is the push-up. I'm gonna have my feet elevated, feet on the bench, hands on the ground. Okay. What you must know about this push-up is normally this is going to be a little harder than the regular push-up there, because if your feet stay on the ground, if your hands stay on the ground, as your feet get higher and higher and higher, it's going to be more like you're trying to do a handstand push-up, which is very difficult for most people, even if you use the wall to maintain balance. So, as I'm here, put my feet up on the bench, hands on the ground, lowering myself down, and again pushing up. Keeping in control and under control, not dropping myself down because I don't want to eat it. I don't want to do a face plant. It's pretty good to work the muscles of the upper chest, as well as the shoulders and the triceps, but it's primarily a chest exercise. This is the hip thrust, but the hip thrust with the feet elevated or feet on a bench. Okay, so it's kind of really more of a hamstring exercise. If you don't want to go for reps, you want to go for time. You want to substitute the hamstring pray contraction for this. But if I dig my heels into the bench, or in your case a chair or whatever it is, you can get some good quality hamstring work, but it's more than likely going to be for high reps. So I'm laying flat, down on my back. I'm close to the bench to where I'm at a 90-degree angle. Okay, got my feet in if I want to work my hamstrings. Everything else stays fixed, abs stays contracted. All the way up to the top, back down. And that's pretty much how that works. You're going to get a little bit of glute work, but you're also going to get much more hamstring work. Okay, If you choose to do the hamstring crank contraction, this is an exercise I learned from Eric Serrano, but I get real close to the bench, and so I'm right here, got my knees hanging a little bit over the pad, and about shoulder width. Touch the feet together behind you, and you're just holding. Okay, so as you hold, you're squeezing your hamstrings to make that hold. Now, if the holds get a little bit long, you can put a 5 or 10 pound plate right there on your ankles, and that'll make this exercise a little bit more difficult. You don't want to try to bend over here and take slack off the hamstrings. You want to keep straight up, and maybe you'll squeeze the glutes so you can stay upright. Okay, so this is that exercise. It's more of an advanced plank. It's called the toe touch plank. Now, when most people go to plank, one of the problems that I always see is they will always toe touch. They will always let this sag in the middle, or they'll just hold this neutral, which is a very easy stance, very easy position to deal with. You want to make your abs contract when you do the toe touch plank. So instead of just sitting there in a neutral position, I will flip the hip a little bit more forward to make those abs work to hold that position. Sort of more like this, okay? And more with the toe touch plank. Right here, down, touch, quickly back up, touch, while holding your plank position. This is the doorway press. Of course, you can do this pressing into the doorway. I don't have one here. Well, I do have one over there, but you can do it against the wall if you're willing to make sure that you stay leaning over and not trying to make it easier by changing your position, which of course will involve your chest muscles instead of your shoulders, or involve your chest muscles more instead of your shoulders. So as I do these, I'm right over here. Okay, and of course, I mean, if you have the luxury, you can change the height. All right, but I have no problems with bending over, and I try to get it right where my elbows are at 90 degrees in there. So right at my 90-degree angle, shoulder width apart, maybe a little more wider than the shoulder width. Okay, and I push really hard and try to hold that position. Just like this. So you do that for about maybe 30 seconds to start if you're a novice, but 40 seconds is usually pretty good, and then you keep holding for longer and longer periods of time. But you have to make sure, you know, that you're actually pushing against it and not just resting your hands on the bar. Okay, because if you're going to do something, you might as well do it right so you get something from it instead of finding ways to try to make things easier for you. Okay, so starting right into there, a good push with the muscles, holding your body in position, and you're just sitting there and you're going to hold, and you know, after a while it's going to burn, but you know, you'll get better at it. Okay, these last two, they're also tricky. It's like some of the other exercises, how I position my feet for the push-ups. I'm trying to remember some of the other exercises, but anyway. With that being said, this is a lever curl and a lever extension. So what you can personalize this exercise based on your strength levels. When I did the chin-up version, okay, with my feet on the bench, having my feet more on the bench, making me shorter, made it a little easier. And less of my legs on the bench made it more difficult, and it'll be sort of similar here, but the angle is not necessarily straight up. It's going to be more like this. And you'll see as I do the curl, okay? Okay. And if I want to make this harder, I can stick my feet out, and that's more work. Okay, I can also walk a little more this way, make it easier, or walk more out that way, and make it harder. This is the lever tricep extension. Of course, you can use tables or anything else that you have that's sort of like this bar in nature or this setup. All right. So I'm in here. I usually will not put my hands on the bar because they put a lot of tension on the wrist. So I'll usually put mine right here, but find where you're comfortable and put my hands together. So I'm right in here and I'm not trying to poke my head up so I can see where I'm at. And that's really undisciplined and you won't keep the right muscles. Okay, you'll be in a bad position. So you want to be disciplined. Straight out, feet further away. Having my feet further away will make it more difficult. If I bend my legs and keep my feet closer, it'll become a little bit easier. So remember, feet closer, easier, feet further away, harder. Bend my arm, bicep and forearm touches. You don't have to go super far, bicep, forearm touches. And straighten back out. And you want to come closer, straightening out. Okay?